Freddie, hey, congratulations for Cell 8.
Oh, thank you so much. Lovely to meet you.
Hey, it's great. It's terrific to meet you too. Yeah. I was riveted throughout the entire series. There was like so many twists and turns.
Oh,
I
great.
I did not expect that ending.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad. Sorry, my dog's going to try and join us.
That's
Oh,
that's
glad.
fine. That's fine. So
Oh, thank you. No, yeah.
let me start with this, Freddie. What initially drew you to this project?
Um, it's a good question. Yeah. So I guess initially from that kind of I don't know, indulgent actor sort of standpoint, the kind of chance to play a part that's sort of very far away from me in terms of, I don't know, in completely different environments to, one I'm accustomed to. So that was all that was exciting. But then I met Yuhan, the director, who's incredible. And he was just like, you know, uh, this project, this story is not going to work if we don't believe and care about the characters, like it all. But yeah, I think, you just sort of just felt really lucky to get to play a part like this, actually. Yeah.
So tell me about how you got into the part, into the headspace of playing John.
So yeah, it was because it's that thing, obviously, you've seen it, like, he's in an environment that I think is pretty hard for anyone who's not, I've never come close to experiencing a sort of an environment that John's in. Um, so I kind of there was the Werner Herzog documentary called Into the Abyss, and it's him spending the last moments with a man who is on death row and is to be executed the next day, and so just to get a sense of the sort of the weirdness and the sort of, I don't know, the perverseness of it all. And then a big thing for me was the American accent was like a big because I don't know, it always stresses me out if you hear an accent, that's not their accent. That always takes me out. And so that was, yeah, that kind of, I had like sort of 5 months of just being kind of religious about that. And luckily my sister's boyfriend is a Midwest boy, so I got him to record all the lines, and kind of took advantage of his good nature to record all the lines for me. But so yeah, I kind of did all those preparations just to kind of, yeah, looking up sort of what a sort of a day in the life of someone on death row would be like. But then I don't know, when you're on set and they've done the sets incredibly, and you're being chained up, you're spending your day in a cell, it's quite easy to sort of then just use your imagination. And also when I read the book, even though there's quite different character traits in the book, like in the book he's a father, he's a slightly darker figure. I quite like from the fact in the book he's completely traumatized the whole way through, and I thought that was like quite an interesting challenge of how to show someone who is, there's not a state where he's got any agency. He's completely traumatized throughout the whole thing, and how you can do that isn't, I don't know, exhausting or boring for an audience. I thought that was like an interesting way to sort of challenge. But yeah.
I love your performance because you're such an emotional state going up and down throughout the entire series. Was that easy to turn on and off for you?
Yeah, it was kind of like it was a sort of a weird a weird conflict between my sort of douchey, pretentious actor state, and also my neediness and wanting to be liked by everyone. That was a weird balance to get right, which I probably failed in completely. But yeah, I'm not a good enough actor to sort of not of just like, I don't know, be chatting to people and then just turn it on. But also, I firmly believe you're in a work environment. You've got to make that environment as comfortable for everyone as possible, and you can't just make it about I need to be in this place, so therefore I will I'll be foul to everybody. But yeah, I found it sort of yeah, I was lucky because the final sort of scenes were right at the end, and I was sort of so exhausted um, by the shoot, and I'd hopefully established that I wasn't a complete douche, that I could take myself off to the side and sort of get myself into that kind of into that place. And also, it's just, yeah, as I said previously, like when you're, I don't know, when you're in the outfit and you see the death chamber, and you kind of go, oh my god, you know how clinical it all is, and you go, oh, this actually happens. It's pretty easy just to conjure up. I don't think you have to be a particularly good actor for that scenario to conjure up something in you.
It's funny you're telling me like you had a little bit of fear, a little bit of scare, you know, going into that death chamber itself.
Oh god, yeah. No, it was so, I think it was just so bizarre. And I think just when you kind of went, oh my god, this actually does happen. I think that's just kind of, yeah. And I know I felt really strange for the next, like, after filming those scenes, it felt strange for the sort of for a good few days. It was, yeah. No, I think it was very easy just to let your imagination sort of take you there. But no, I think it's funny. It's like actually the more challenging scenes, I'm sure a lot of actors say that, is the ones where you're having to sort of, I don't know, say exposition or something like that. Those are the scenes actually where I find much more of a struggle. Whereas, I don't know, yeah, some of those sort of more intense scenes, you can at least sort of go, you're able to sort of put yourself in a mindset.
So was the prison like built on the set, or did they actually use a real prison?
So for the exterior stuff, in a few scenes they did use a real prison, but then no, for just the death row block, they used a set, and that was the sort of final 2 months of filming. So it's kind of spending just sort of 2 months in that cell, and you know, it was kind of fascinating because they had like sort of Estonian extras, and a couple of them had, you know, spent time in prison. So that was all kind of sort of fascinating. It was sort of like you were doing, I don't know, yeah, interactive theatre or something like that. It was very, very bizarre.
So tell us the truth about this movie Magic, because obviously, I mean, personally, I don't think you were both in Ohio and Sweden at the same time. So
Yeah.
tell us about the location, unless you accumulated a lot of miles.
Yeah. So we were in Estonia, in Tallinn. I think so. We were meant to, because we were meant to film this before. I literally got this job 2 weeks before COVID came about. So yeah, it was one of those ones that, you know, then got the stress of like it might not happen. But then we were originally meant to film some stuff in Ohio, and I think also in Stockholm. But I think with COVID, that just, you know, you had to I don't know, be light on your feet. And the amazing sort of, you know, location scouting department found parts of Estonia that you could convincingly portray as Ohio, and also Stockholm. But have you ever been to Estonia?
I have never been in Estonia. Yeah,
It's amazing, honestly. No, I had no expectations of what it was going to be like, and I was going, oh, I'm going to be, you know, 6 months in Estonia. Had, you know, slightly apprehensive, but some of the nicest people. Tallinn is beautiful, and the people were just, absolutely lovely. And so that was where we did all our filming. Yeah, I mean, it was strange, but it was an incredible place. And like, yeah, I have such a special place in my heart for Estonia now.
so all the Swedish part was also filmed in Estonia. Everything.
Yeah,
That's just amazing.
exactly. No, it's kind of, it is crazy. Yeah, no, it's and but I think they're quite sort of similar. I think Estonian people probably say they've got quite a similar energy to Swedish people. They're much tougher and strong-willed than someone like me. They were quite impressive people. Yeah.
So what was it a relief that you didn't have to say speak any Swedish in a series like this?
So when I auditioned, the original script says he speaks Swedish.
Oh.
And then I did that audition and I got the part, and they sent me the script, and the script now said he tries to speak Swedish really badly, gives up. So I think my performance kind of dictated that he would not speak Swedish. Yeah.
Well, that's a relief for you.
Oh
now,
my God, definitely. Yeah.
Now, as a foreign person yourself, because the series is fascinating because it kind of shows both perspectives, all perspectives of, the death penalty.
Yeah.
From the Swedish point of view, from the American point of view, for every point of view. For yourself, since you're neither American or Swedish, tell us about your perspective of the death penalty, especially after doing a project like this and reading the books.
Yeah. I guess kind of probably an important thing to say before answering, it's a really good question. Before answering the question is like, when I sort of looked into the death penalty and my kind of studying of it wasn't sort of, I don't know, to be in for a debate. It was very much to like get inside a person who is living that experience. And also, luckily I've never experienced anything where I've had to have my opinion of the death penalty questioned. That being said, to me it does feel just one of the most perverse things a human can do. And I think it feels from again the minimal study I did, it does not seem to give closure to families of the victim. It doesn't seem to give those people what they're searching for. And it feels something that it feels very abhorrent to me.
Well, it is still a very controversial topic here in the
United
States.
Well, it's and it's interesting because obviously, like, I live in London, and I was sort of at a party recently, and I was chatting to people my age. I thought, and you'd think people, I don't know, people in their 20s in London, it'd be a fairly uncontroversial topic. Weirdly, but it really kind of, people had very people were speaking to people who were completely in favor of it. And it's hard for it not to become an emotional, it's hard for it not to be that argument, not to become from an emotional a place. I guess just I don't know, it's sort of, I mean, I'm aware that this is not how the law works, but obviously I'd kind of love the ideal, I guess, of the law is that it's trying to hold a better standard of humanity is where I would be. And not giving people, while I'm saying this, it's not me, of course, if something happened to a family member or something like that, I'd absolutely feel all those feelings that someone, I wouldn't be sort of able to sort of not have those feelings. But yeah, I find it hard not to just feel it's, I don't know, ghoulish.
Well said. Well, let me leave, Freddie. Let me leave with one more thought here, because while I was watching the series, I was fascinated. You're changing hairstyles.
Oh man, yeah.
Throughout the entire series, and now you have it all long because obviously the pandemic's over.
Yeah, I had a year of the worst hairstyles ever. I had the show I did before that, which was a punk show. I had to have essentially a reverse mullet. So they had the whole of the back of my head shaved, and this bit was long and dyed pink. So I was kind of like immune to bad hairdos, but I had given myself, I had shaved, and then I was like, oh, I think John's quite a try hard character, particularly in the beginning. I was like, oh, I think he's quite tryhard, so I think he'd, bleach his hair and sort of, imagine he's sort of Ryan Gosling in Place Beyond the Pines, but a lot less cool. But I think that the production team were a bit shocked when I came to Estonia with my bleached blonde hair. But I think I need to take a break from bad haircuts. I need some time out.
Most excellent. Well, whatever you did, you do it well. Freddie, thank you very much for carrying this conversation with us, and I can't wait to see what's the next series or film that you're doing.
Oh, it was lovely to meet you. Thank you so much. They were great questions.
Hey, thank you very much. It is terrific to meet you too. Thank you.
Lovely to meet you. Bye.
Bye.